So here is your first lesson. It should be Thursday morning. I'm on my way to Flat Rock. You guys are at school, and so you got to have some e-learning lessons. So we're going to talk about, and you saw in my instructions, we're going to start talking a little bit about geometry to kind of push through this stuff before I learn. So this first lesson is over triangles. Okay, so you should have this notes page with you. If you don't have it, you need to get it from the sub. Okay, and we're going to talk about triangles very quickly. So if you look up here at the top, it says ways that you can classify triangles. So what's classify mean? It means tell me what kind of triangles they are. Okay, so the two ways that you can classify triangles, one way are by its angles. So we can classify triangles by their angles, or we can classify the triangles by their sides. Okay, so there's two different ways that you can classify them. And we're going to talk about the angle side first, okay? And this is probably review for you guys. So right over here, we have our three kinds of angles. We have an acute angle. And you guys know what an acute angle is. It's a cute little angle, right? It's those angles that are smaller than 90 degrees, okay? So if we transfer that to a triangle, that means an acute triangle is where all three angles are less than 90 degrees. All three angles of the triangle are acute. So an acute triangle is the three angles are less than 90 degrees, okay? So the three angles are less than 90 degrees. That means it's an acute triangle. A right triangle, you guys should all know. We know what a right angle is, right? A right angle is 90 degrees. So a right triangle has one right angle, okay? So it has one right angle, okay? And then we have our obtuse triangle. So we know that an obtuse angle are those wide angles, right? Those are those angles that are greater than 90 degrees. See, my arms are making an obtuse angle because if you watch my head, from here to here is greater than 90 degrees. So an obtuse triangle has one obtuse angle in it, okay? So it has one obtuse angle. Okay, so you can classify a triangle as an acute triangle. All the angles are really little. A right triangle, so it makes a 90-degree angle, one side, or an obtuse triangle, where it has one obtuse angle. Okay? Now, we can also classify triangles by their side lengths. Okay? Equilateral triangle. It has that word equal in it. So that means all three sides are the same length. Okay? All three sides are equal. Okay? It's like a triangle. This side's 3 centimeters, this side's 3 centimeters, and this side's 3 centimeters. All three sides are equal. Then you have an isosceles. You should know this. Okay? It's a really hard word to spell. But an isosceles, two of the sides are equal. Okay? So isosceles has two equal sides. Okay? And then your scalene triangle is a weird one. Okay? All three sides are different. They all have different lengths. Okay? So for a scalene triangle, they have three different side lengths. Okay? So you may be asked to classify a triangle by its sides and its angles. So if I show you an example, I'm going to pause while it's passing period. Okay, I'm back. So here's an example. So I have this triangle. If you look, the side lengths are 4 centimeters, 3 centimeters, and 5 centimeters. So all three sides are different. So that makes this a scalene because all three sides are different. And if you look, it has a right angle here. So since it has a right angle, it means it's scalene and it's also a right triangle, because it can be both by angles and side lengths, okay? So this part here is very important. It's talking about the interior angles of a triangle. So interior means the insides, okay? The inside angles, okay? So all three angles must add up to 180 degrees. Okay, this is very important. So the three angles of a triangle, they must add up to 180 degrees. If they don't, it's not a triangle. It might look like a triangle, but if those three angles don't add up to 180 degrees, it's not a triangle, okay? So if we would look at this one right here, to look at it, it kind of looks like an equilateral triangle, okay? So if I say this angle here is 60 degrees, this angle here is 60 degrees, and this angle is x, okay? And we have to find x. Well, we know that the three angles have to add up to 180. So we add the two angles that we know, okay? So we have 60 plus 60. We know that that equals 120. Well, they have to equal 180. So I'm going to take 180 minus the 120, and that gives me 60 degrees. So that means this angle down here is 60 degrees because they have to add up to 180, okay? So if you look at this example over here, I'm going to move it a little bit. Right here, okay, we have this triangle, and I want to find this angle right here. Well, I'm going to say this one is 90 degrees, okay? And I'm going to say that this one is 40 degrees, okay? We have to find x. We know the three angles have to add up to 180, so I'm going to add the two angles that I know. I'm going to take 90 plus 40. That gives me 130. Well, since they have to add up to 180, I'm going to take 180 minus 130, and that gives me 50. So that means this missing angle right here is 50 degrees. Okay? So you're going to do a short activity on it, and then I'm going to keep teaching. You're going to see lots of me today.